Coach, I went to grad school up in Minnesota. I'm from Dallas. When the Stars won in '99 here in Dallas, I remember like Darian Hatcher, Eddie Belfour, Yuri Lettinen, like every one of those guys, I knew their name and number. But having gone up to school in Minnesota, I found the hockey culture so interesting and different. You've tasted those same two cultures as well. What are maybe some of the differences, but also, have you seen hockey down here grow?
Well, I'll tell you the first thing I noticed when I would go to my kids' games and people walk around when the play's going on and walk in front of you in Minnesota, and same thing in Canada, they would never walk around during a game. When the play is on, they always wait for a whistle. That's the first thing I noticed, but, and then obviously some of the refereeing down here with the kids' programs, they don't have as much experience, but Dallas, and it's typical whenever you win in the NHL, if they win a championship, the community spikes for people, enrolling in hockey programs. So, and I know Dallas has really done a lot. The Stars have done a lot to promote, hockey in Dallas. So, but it's completely different culture. You take it for granted when you grow up in Minnesota. Pretty much somebody in your family plays hockey, and here you'll have parents that never played hockey, their kids play, so you don't have that passing on information, and so it is a little bit challenging for the local kids, I think to pick up their hockey IQs. You got to pay attention, you got to watch games, you got to watch NHL games and watch your favorite players, but watch also the positions that they play, and you got to be you kind of have to do your homework to stay up with the people that are up north, that it's a daily thing up there.
Yeah, speaking of players, we talked with Jared and Spencer, both big parts of your team. What does Jared bring to this team this year?
They're both kind of similar in their net front, greasy, hard-nosed guys. They finish their checks, they compete hard, they back check. You don't ever have to question their work ethic, and if they make a mistake, it's just, it's a game of mistakes, but it's not out of, being lazy or trying to take shortcuts. So, they're the kind of guys that they're high quality glue guys, and, they lead by example. And I think it's critical when you have success, when your team has success, it's usually because your glue guys have a high level of skill and ability and are able to, to make the plays in the game, and the higher your skill level of your glue guys, the easier the team is to coach and the better the team you're going to have.
Yeah, I think ECHL with roster turnover and with new players on these teams, from my perspective, it seems hard to create a coherent culture year after year. But it seems like y'all have done that pretty well down here in Allen. How do you get that done?
A big thing that we talk about is you're playing for each other, and that's the biggest thing. And we had one year we had a lot of injuries, and then we had a drop off in some of the character, because some of the guys that got injured that were team leaders, and like Casey Zabatel. But anyway, it really showed me that it's critical to make sure again that your glue guys are good leaders, and I'm a big believer that those guys create an environment in the room, and because I'm not going to be in the room. I rarely go in the room after the games. I talk strategy before the game, but usually, after a game, I leave the room alone, and it's their room, and you want to have the right guys saying the right thing at the right time. So part of that is making sure that you have those guys, and then the culture that you try to create. We're big on playing for each other, and some players, you may talk about that in the summertime with them, and you can see if it's a player that doesn't really fit into that, and then maybe you make a change, you make a trade. But that's the biggest thing is, they're all pulling on the rope, and I always say some guys are able to pull on the rope a little bit harder, like some guys are able to score more goals, but you still want them to do that. We want to be high offense, but also coming back hard and physical and hard to play against. We want to be an aggressive team. So, to play that way, you have to have smart players. You got to have good decision makers, and you have to have guys that get it and want to get back in the zone and help out and aren't just thinking about offense.
Yeah, speaking of that aggression and that style, I mean, hockey's changed a lot over the years, and I feel like you're seeing defensemen who can move the puck and who are fast on their skates. And again, back to like Darian Hatcher, like that's what I felt like used to seeing is these big punishers. How have you seen the game kind of change?
It's funny because when I took the job here, one of the reasons I took the job is because Craig Ludwig and Matt Tkachuk and Eddie Balfour and those guys from the Stars were involved with the team, and I'd done everything by myself for so many years. I was really excited to come down here and have those guys involved and helping out. But where we clashed a little bit is I'm a little bit more offensive than those guys, especially Craig, and Craig liked the defensive style, and I like 4D. I mean, 4 guys going on the rush, and that's we want to play that style where it's fun to play. We don't dump pucks in unless we have to. We like to get the puck. We don't like to give it up until we're shooting, and so it's a constant. We're constantly working on that because not everybody plays that way. But to me, it's the most entertaining style to watch, and it's more fun to play. And over the course of the season, I think players buy in when when you play that style. It helps them get points, and everybody likes to score goals. And you just want to make sure that they do it within, like I said, the framework. But that's the reason that players choose hockey over other sports. Ultimately, is because it's such a fun game to play, and I believe in playing with your skills. And we also have a physical team, which is a different side of that. But I'm a big believer of using your skills and working on your skills and playing the game the way it's meant to be played, and that's having the puck and making plays and doing fun things with the puck.
Yeah, for sure. And do you feel like your prep this year as a coach had to be any different just because of the virus and this situation, or do you feel like you're still kind of doing the same thing, trying to get this team to where it needs to be?
Well, we're going to do everything the same on the ice. You know what I mean? We're just trying to make sure that we cover ourselves, off the ice and follow the protocol and do the testing. And, it's a pain in the butt, but, you have to look around and know, like I know a lot of people that had it that, it's a very minor thing for, but we also, obviously, we all know a lot of people that have had it, and it's, it's the end of your day. So, we want to be smart and, we want to make sure that we're following the things that we need to do. But, when we get to the rink, it's time to play hockey, and that's the nice thing. I think everybody is so tired. I know I'm sick and tired of sitting around, on my deck and, not doing things. And it's not that I'm, I like coming to the rink and I like coaching. I like what I'm doing. I like having games. And I think, I'm looking forward to when we get to the point where we get a lot of people in the stands, because I feel like a lot of people like me. They're tired of living a mundane life and waiting and waiting and waiting. And, it's time to get out. And so, on the ice, we're not going to change anything. It's just, this year that with only 13 teams committed right now, it's going to be a bit of an all-star league. So, it's going to be like the playoffs as far as games where, there's not going to be an easy night, ever. Not that there ever has been, but I think this year the fans are going to see some of the most exciting hockey that they've ever seen, because, there is there's a shortage of jobs available, so you can be pretty choosy when you pick your team.
Yeah, this league is so interesting on so many levels, even minus this kind of specific issue with this influx of more players. But what kind of defines the ECHL as a league, especially when compared to some of the Canadian leagues and some of the other leagues out there?
Well, we're one of the stepping stones to the NHL, but we're pro. So there's 2 leagues. There's us in the American League, and one of the things that that we try to do is you try to build your team at the beginning of the year, like an NHL team. American League teams can't really do that. They have to build their team based on how many guys that they can project that can play for the NHL club at an NHL salary at a minimum salary because of the salary cap. They're always looking for players that can make it to the NHL that maybe fell through the cracks. But with us, you start your season building it like an NHL team. We say we want to have X amount of size, X amount of skill, X amount of guys that are hard to play against, and we want to be fast, we want to be skilled, we want to be physical. So you're constantly balancing that, which one year I lost 3 of our most physical players to the American League all in the same week, and our team went from a typical Steve Martinson team to a skilled team, and it was a little bit painful. So you're trying to protect that, but one of the things that when you talk about changing rosters is we loan players here, and we answer the phone when the American League calls, even when it's painful. And I say it's like the stock market, on a short-term basis. If if you're watching, it can be painful, but over the long run, you know, what we try to do is get players that we have X amount of guys that want to. A lot of our guys want to move up. Some are ready, some aren't ready, but they want to move up. So you know, you're knowing that you're probably not going to lose those guys for maybe any bit more than a short term. Some of the guys we sign that we have a high probability think they're going to be with us most of the year. So you're not, you know, if you sign 20 guys that are ready to play in the American League, you know, don't be surprised if you lose 20 players. So coaches have to make those decisions to protect your roster. But one of the things that we do, and I say, you know, we'll own you. If it puts you down to us down to 14 skaters, we'll still do it, and we've done it in the past. But you know, when we're doing everything that we can to help your career, you know, the expectation is you're doing everything that you can to help us win, and that's the trade-off that I look for is, you know, we're going to help you, but you better make sure that you're doing everything that we ask you to do, and we don't ask anybody to do anything they're not capable of doing.
Yeah, sure. I know you got to get on the ice here soon. So last question, you know, puck is about to drop. We're here kind of the first few days with your guys. What are y'all focusing on as you go out there and hit the ice?
Well, today really just scrimmaging, and then I'm going to slow it down and do a couple of system things. Really, this is our first day. We're having full guys on the ice due to immigration, and then, you know, all the COVID testing. You know, this is the first time that we've had, you know, basically 4 lines and 4 sets of D. So, and without any preseason games, and planning on cutting it down a little bit by Sunday because we have more players coming from the American League. You know, we're really scrimmaging, and our scrimmages we don't hit. You know, we certainly don't fight. It's really just to show, you know, your skill level and your decision-making level. So that's what we're looking at today is, you know, how skilled guys are, and you know, do they play the game the way we want them to play, and you know, basically, because we have a lot of new guys. We could end up with 10, 12 rookies in our lineup come opening night. So it's going to be a little bit of a challenge to get everybody on the same page. But the one thing I know is we're going to be skilled, we're going to be fast, and we're going to be physical.